Welcome to Advocation X, episode number 76. Time for a newsworthy super bad cold illness broadcast sponsored by Baden Optical in beautiful Ontario, Canada. Please help us out and hit the like button and subscribe to push our content higher in the YouTube algorithms. So, the topics to tackle here and now. How is it possible? Quarantine. Conflicting stories. You're called an expert? Listening to the experts. So-called crackpots. The history of pandemics. Questions for you, the viewer and listeners. So, let's dive deep right now. So, how is it possible that the numbers are rising all over the US and many other areas when we have a situation where everybody has done what they were told, everybody social distanced, everybody quarantined, and they gave that long period for the incubation to have set in? So if everybody has allowed that to happen and nobody is infected anymore, because of course they've all figured out if they have it or they don't have it, and they've all gone and gotten treatment if they had it and have been cleansed of this thought that they could possibly be infected, and now they come out of their homes after a long period of isolation and the numbers are rising. So how are they giving each other this super bad cold illness when they did the quarantine, when they were not out there amongst the people, when all of these issues should have been extinguished? If nobody is exposed to the virus for 3 months, 2 months, 4 months, sitting in their homes, anybody who was already affected would have received treatment. They're not allowed to leave and go home until they are given a clean bill of health. Tell me, people, how is it rising? How are the numbers climbing? Please, I would really love to know, okay? Unless you're saying that nobody actually really listened, that the streets were bare for no real reason whatsoever, and all the essential workers that were going back to work that did not become infected, that were taking proper precautions, somehow transmitted the disease to everybody else who now comes out of their homes after quarantine. I'm sorry, but we're tackling a few issues here at once, which is the quarantine for that long, lengthy period of time was not successful, yet they claim success. All around, everybody's claiming success, but yet the numbers are rising. So you think about that, okay? Now, there are so many conflicting stories out there. Is this on purpose or is it just happenstance? So, if I were to create a perfect storm and I wanted to create mass hysteria, I could tell people that big 15 square kilometer or mile stretch of locust swarm is actually 400 million square miles. It's going to blanket every country and wipe out life as we know it. All of our crops will be dead. And then somebody else puts out, for me, the swarm is only 15 kilometers. I don't know what Advocation X is talking about when they say these millions and millions of square miles or kilometers. And then we have other people who come up and say, actually, Advocation X is on the money. Everything we have done, all the models we put together show that that swarm is growing at this percentage every hour. And within the next week, it will blanket millions of square miles. And then there's other experts who tell you this 15 square kilometer or mile stretch of locust swarms is going to die off because they have such a lifespan, etc., etc. And they're not going to become this big threat. They're going to take definitely some work. It'll be a challenge. But then we have others. If I put out that confusion on purpose, you will never know who to believe. The panic will stay with you every single minute of every day because you don't know. You just don't know. So we have to ask ourselves the questions. With so many conflicting stories on this whole super bad cold illness, treatments, the death rate, the Google search, which shows you that no matter what numbers you put into the Google search, they seem to be producing some sort of result for you. So put in any 3-digit number and put with it new cases. You don't even have to say new cases of what. You don't have to say how many, or 652 cases of super bad cold illness, or 652 cases of heart attacks. Just put in 652 new cases and change those 3-digit numbers as many times as you like, and then see what you see. Okay? So I'm starting to question things, and I hope you're starting to question things, because if you are, that means you are truly my beautiful thinking people. If you have no questions about what's going on, well, that doesn't make you bad or good. It just makes you not willing to look further than what's fed to you. So that means if I put a plate of food on the table for you, you will not question what it is. You will not question why I made it on such a particular day. You will not question whether it's hot or cold. You will just dig in and maybe burn your tongue right out of your mouth because I've done it on purpose and I put ghost peppers all in the food. Always be inquisitive. Remember our motto. Keep an open mind, because knowledge is power. And without our knowledge, we have no power. Ask questions. Okay, let's move on. How can you be called an expert if you never experienced something before in history? What makes you an expert on an extraterrestrial being who is 400 feet tall and weighs 17 tons? You're an expert? I don't remember the last time I saw an alien walking around of that size. Don't tell me you're an expert. And don't tell me you know an expert. Because nobody's an expert when it comes to the super bad cold illness. Nobody. It is the start of something, what do they call it? Novel. And what does novel mean? It's new. It's unknown to us. You are here because you are one of my beautiful thinking people. Don't stop thinking. Don't stop questioning. Don't stop digging. So, when we are told to listen to the experts, how do we determine who they are? Who are the experts? What gives them the credentials? Please tell me. Is Dr. Fauci an expert on super bad cold illness? Has he faced this before? Does he know how to turn it off? So what gives him the status of an expert? Nothing. Nothing. How about the rest of them? They all talk a big game. But have you not noticed from the beginning of this super bad cold illness, their stories have changed multiple times? You can't contract it person to person. Oh, You can contract it person to person. It can't go from animal to person or person to animal. Oh, we have a tiger who died of super bad cold illness. We have pets that are dying of super bad cold illness. Anyway, listen, I am a thinking person. I am a thinking person. If you put down a bed of hot coals, I will ask all the pertinent questions before I take my first step. And when I figure out the only way to survive walking across those coals is to get a pair of shoes with soles made of a specific substance that will block all heat transfer, then I'm going to look at the coals and the way they're situated and see if I can find a path through those coals where I'm not going to slip off and fall into this heat. So, let's continue to remain beautiful and thinking people. It doesn't make sense just to be what we call sheeple. It doesn't get you anywhere other than rolling off the cliff with the rest of the sheeple before you, okay? Now, we have the so-called crackpots. But are they maybe actually the experts? And maybe we've been listening to all the wrong people? Judy Mikovits. She seems to have covered all of this stuff over and over again, trying to tell us, to question, trying to tell us that her job has been for decades to figure out how these illnesses are affecting people. And she believes the super bad cold illness is something that falls within her realm. I think we should maybe listen to a lot more crackpots and experts, of course. We want to listen to both sides. Okay? All three sides, all five sides. How many sides there are, listen to them all. Because in the end, you will always have the tasks of determining your own evaluation on each and every story. So, let's move on. When in the history of our world have we ever shut down our entire world? Every country shut down, locked down, stay in your home, stay away from each other, don't go near anybody, everybody. Sorry. This happens every time I get excited. No, I'm not sick. I have self-quarantined. I listened to the experts. I stayed home for ages. As you saw some of my videos in my home base, on my balcony. If a virus is airborne, we're all going to get it. 1 minute or another, we're all going to get it. If it's not airborne, if it is transported in droplets, 99.9% of the people that I see everywhere are not sneezing or coughing. They're not spitting as they talk. And if they are, we always turn away from them. And those people, those individuals would have to be infected when they coughed or sneezed. So, I just want us to think, people, when in our history, for Ebola, for smallpox, for polio, for any of these horrible, horrible illnesses that have been afflicting humankind, we have never closed down our entire world. We have never isolated our peoples across the world. So ask yourself, what's the purpose? Could there be some other agenda? Could something else be going on? It's a fair question. It's a fair question. So, when, in the history of our world, has this occurred? When? Next question. Are you, or you, as confused as the rest of us? Have you been hearing tons of stories? And do you block out those stories so you don't have to face the truth? Or do you let those stories come in and become confused like the rest of us? That we are getting so many stories pulling us from side to side. Ask yourself that. Now, here's something you'll find surprising coming from me. Next question. What if DJT, Donald J. Trump, or Donald J. Drumpf was right? What if this is just a regular run-of-the-mill illness? What if hydrochloroquine actually does work against it? What if any normal regimen of antibiotics or whatever are going to be effective against this? What if he was right? What will you say? Final question. When will you take your first trip away on vacation? When are you going to feel confident enough to go and restart your life and enjoy your world that was given to you to enjoy by whatever power you call it? It's all the same entity. It doesn't matter if you call me John, as long as you point to my picture, it's me. Doesn't matter if you call me Bob or Sue or Joanne or Arthur or any number of names, whether they're derogatory or not. You're still referring to me. So that entity, whatever you call it, that has provided you this absolutely gorgeous world in life, do you think that this is what that entity had in store for you? Anyway, answer these questions down in the comment section. And please help further our cause by hitting that like button and subscribing for future content. Become a member. Crush that bell while you're at it so you miss nothing going forward. And disclaimer, ours is a channel. It is factually informed opinion and not alternative fact type either. Questions will be answered if you're a subscribed member of this channel. However, suggestions are more than welcomed, including your critical analysis. Leave your respectful comments, suggestions, critical analysis, and questions to future topics you'd like covered in our comment section. Special thanks from Clyde and the crew to all of you beautiful thinking people out there. A shout out to our sponsor, Baden Optical in beautiful Ontario, Canada. Once again, good folks, I must say, we never give up and we never give in. And remember to keep your open mind, because knowledge is your power. So do your research. Maintain your power. Until next time, thank you for spending time with us here on this channel. Please stay safe and healthy while doing your best to remain as happy as humanly possible. Thank you once again.